I'm Sister Catherine Mufunda, coming from Bikita, rural area. I come from a family of 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls. And I am the 6th in the family. And all my siblings are dead except one. So we are 2 left. And I did my primary school in Mudzami school. And my upper primary at Silvaira mission. And after I came to be a sister, I was sent to St. Teresa's to train as a nurse, lower nursing. Then I came to the novitiate. After profession, I worked at Monde Hospital. Then I worked at Serima Clinic. Then after that, I went to Imbakwe for secondary school. After which I came back and did my juniorate to prepare for final profession. Then in September 1979, I was sent to the United States of America to train as a nurse. I did my Bachelor of Science for 4 years and came back and worked at Monde Hospital as a nurse tutor. Then Silvaira Hospital as a nurse tutor for 12 years. After which I was sent again back to America and I worked there for 3 years and came back. When I came back, I spent 1 year at the generalate. Then from there, I was sent to South Africa, where I spent 3 years. Then I came back and I was sent to work here at the regional house. I cannot exactly what, but I still remember when I was in lower primary, after crossing the river, I felt a feeling that I want to be a sister, but I really didn't know what it all meant. Then this thought lingered in me, and when I went to the mission for upper primary, the thought left me. But once in a while, it would come back. And I resisted. But the more I resisted, the more I felt I want to be a sister. Then I told my parish priest that I wanted to be a sister. Then he told the superior general of the SJI at that time. And when she came in November 1965, she called me and I was angry because I didn't want to become a sister anymore. But then before that, when I told my mother that this was my thought, she said, "It's okay if you are able. Then I said, I needed to tell Father. Then when I told him, he was very against it. And in November, I told my cousin who was teaching at the Silvira Hospital that this was my thought and my father was against it. Then he said, it's okay. Let me call him. Then we plan a lie to him. Then we planned that he would tell my father that I was going to school. Then after training as a teacher, I will come back. Then he said, okay, if it is the reason why she wants to go away, it's okay. But if she doesn't come back, then I will come back to you and you have to take her back home. Then in December, the superior at the mission said, now it's time that we go to Driefontein so that you can become a candidate. He came, I remember he came with a truck, and I got at the back of the truck looking backwards, seeing the view of Silvira and everything. Then after crossing a little river, I said to myself, now I make a covenant with you, Jesus, that whatever happens, I will never come back. I will be stuck to you for life. So we reached Driefontein and I was made a candidate. I encountered many challenges. First, like a candidate, I encountered the problems at St. Teresa, where I was training lower nursing. There were problems, but because I had made a covenant with Jesus, I couldn't leave, because I thought if I leave the nursing, then I will be sent home, and this will not be the thing. Then when I came to the novitiate, it was fine for me. After profession from the novitiate, I faced a little challenge. I was put at a clinic to run a clinic, and I had no experience of running a clinic myself alone. But since I have a vow of obedience, I went. And there were so many challenges at the clinic, many things which happened which I didn't know. And for some reason or other, I could manage. And some of them, which I feel even today, that if I knew what to do, it could have not happened. But nevertheless, I overcame. And after I was sent, after Serima's clinic, I was sent to Mbakwe for secondary school, which was okay, but my last year of school, it was during Civil War. The challenge which I encountered was the death of 2 brothers who were shot by the guerrillas. And after we had the shot, I called some other sisters this way, British sisters and Scottish sisters. I said, please, let's go in the corridor because there are bullets being fired. So when we went to see what was happening, we saw the two bodies of two brothers dead. And the next morning, we had to evacuate the place and came back to Bulawayo because we were supposed to write our exam 2 days in 2 days. Then this was the challenge. Then I came to Driefontein and did my juniorate and took my final profession in January. Then I was sent to Msiso, and the problem I encountered when I went there was I was with the brother Seraphine. And when we reached the Ndanga mountains, we encountered the crossfire of the guerrillas and the soldiers. And we were caught in between. And brother heard the shots and he just went out of the car. Then he said to me, come. Then I went out of the car. Then at that moment, the bullets were just firing the car and we were hiding on the bushes. For 3 hours, there were bullets right and left. Then at 6 o'clock in the evening, there was a bomb which was put by the soldiers, and then the firing stopped. And when we wanted to go back to the car, it was in tatters because of the bullets. So we started to walk towards some area, and we met the soldiers. And these soldiers, brother said, let's hide. So we went into the bushes and hid in the bushes. And they passed. And then when they passed, we came back to the road and started walking. And yet they were looking for the people who were in the car because they thought we were dead. And when they come back, they found us, we couldn't hide anywhere because on the left there was precipices and on the right mountains. So there was no way to go. So we stopped and they stopped. They said, you come. They did these little cars for war. They said, you come. And these were white soldiers. And they said, we don't take you, meaning me, because I was black. Then Brother Seraphine said, if you don't take her, then I don't go in as well. Because if she dies, then we die together. Then eventually they took us both, and we went to Zaka office, where we were given a room to spend the night. Then in the morning, the superior, the priest in charge came to fetch us. And this was the challenges which I really encountered as a sister, which I still remember were terrible. My happy memories in life were that I was able to be a sister and journeyed my life up to 50 years, not without challenges, as I told you, but the day I did my first profession was one of those happy memories, because my father, who was against it, came to witness my first profession, and I was so happy. My final profession, everybody at home who were able to come came to witness my final profession, and I was so happy that they were able to support me. The sad memories in my life were deaths in the family. First, my sister who died, who was my best friend, died, and I was kind of depressed. Then as years passed by, I overcame it. And when I went to America, I received the news that my brother had a sudden death, and it shocked me. I was alone in the house. I couldn't share with someone, and I was so distressed. So when I went to work, I told the sister in charge in the hospital that my brother had died, and she gave me 3 mourning days. Then after 6 days, I received a phone call that my mother had died. And this made me so confused and so sad. And still I was alone in the house. I couldn't share with someone. But the hospital administrator understood my problem, and they said I can go home. Then I took a day to prepare to fly back to Zimbabwe. Then when I reached the airport, the flight had already gone. Then I went the next morning. I came the next morning. And when I reached home, I must have, it must have not registered in my mind that my mother was dead, because for some reason, I bought something which she liked. And when I reached home, I went straight away to her bedroom, and I found an empty bed. And my sisters-in-law were saying, "What are you doing?" Then I said, "I thought my mother is still here." They said, no, she's no more. And this was very sad for me. Then after that, when I was sent to South Africa, I heard my brother was sick. And when I crossed the border, a phone call reached me and said, your brother is dead. And this was a shock for me. And after a month, when I was here, my niece had an operation, and after a few hours, she died. So those were really sad memories for me, that the deaths, which were just sudden and not ready, as it were happening. But I took it to be okay. It's God's will. It should be. It's okay. Yes, there are few. I can say I achieved when I was given the duty to be a nurse tutor. The results for pass rate were very good. So I thank God for that. And that whatever I did in my studies, I was able to pass without supplementing from nursing, BSc, masters. I was able to pass without supplementing. So I thought this was my achievement. I really cannot say I have any regret in my life. All what has happened, I think it was in God's plan. And all what is the challenges, the sad memories, the what, I think I put them in God's plan, in God's hands. So to say I have any regrets in my life, I don't have. Yes. I took many risks, but some of them are trivial. But the major risks which I took were when I was in America. I didn't know how to do skiing. So I went to a mountain side where they were not skiing as such, but get into like a sledge coming from the top, going down. So I just wanted to see how it felt. And it was very scary and nice. So that was one risk for curiosity's sake. Then when I came back from America, I went through Europe. I just wanted to see some areas. So I was invited to go to Basel. No. To go to one of the town where one of the priests was working, who was in here. So I went into the train, and instead of getting off at a station, I went to Austria. And then when they saw me, they asked me why, where is my passport, where is my visa. I didn't know the language. I couldn't say anything. Then they just showed me the way to get out of the train. Then they said, in science, get the next train and go back. So I got the next train and went back. And when I reached the place, I didn't know which bus to take because I had no language. So there was a stoop there, and there were so many people. So I climbed the stoop and shouted, "Is there anyone who can speak English here?" Then there was a little boy about 10, 12 years, came running and said, "Me." Then I asked, I wanted to get the bus to go to this town. And he showed me. And that was one of the thing I did. Then when I went to Immense, nobody took me to see the seaside, the sightseeing. Then I said, I cannot go home without seeing anything. So I just went out of Immense and took the train and went to town. And took the train, went to this hotel which is on top, which we usually see on the pictures. Just wanted to see out of curiosity. It's difficult, yeah. But I can say I feel I live my life. If I live it well, and those who have seen my life see how I lived my life, what I have done, what I did. If people see it, whether they are religious or lay people or whoever, appreciate it. That's my legacy. The next generation, first of all, the generation of sisters, I wish if they would live a life of SGI constitutions and SGI charism. That's my wish. And the next generation of the laity, I wish they would know who God is and live their life to the full.